This
In
conference
that
will
we
now be
used
recorded.
Maven, as a tool to build the Java-based application. Okay. Um, Usually what happens is in real time, like here we have the project, but you still need to go and click on the build now option every time, right? It's a manual process. Like if I want to build this project, um, I want to click on the build now, only then the build starts. Okay, but this is not the ideal scenario. In real time, what should happen is whenever the developer, he goes and check in the code, or he commits the code in the repository, a build should automatically trigger here. Okay, so that is the scenario we are looking at. So let's try to go to the repository, and we will set up some of the things in the repository and in the Jenkins, so that let's say I make a change in one of the file here, it should automatically trigger a build in Jenkins. Okay, so we'll look at that one. I just got this notepad here, like these are the steps that we need to follow. Okay, let's have a look at this one. First is you need to create a personal access token in GitHub. Okay, I've taken example of GitHub. So let's go with the personal access token creation in GitHub. So for that, you need to go to the settings, developer options, and we have got personal access tokens. So let's go and check that. So this is the GitHub. Go to the settings here. Here on the very right hand corner. So you logged in, all the details would be here. You click on the settings here. Again, it might vary. The setup you are doing, it might vary because this is a GitHub. You're using some other service provider like Bitbucket or GitLab. The concept will remain the same, but the only thing is how you configure it, and all will little bit, it might change there. Okay, so go to the developer settings here, and you'll have the personal access tokens. So let's generate a new token. These are all the old tokens. Let's delete them. It'll ask for the password again. Okay, so here give the name of the token, like what it should be there for. So we are having a personal access token for continuous integration, right? So continuous integration means whenever the code change happens, the build should be triggered. Okay, so personal access tokens for continuous integration. And you can select the scope here, like what this token is used for, right? So these are all the options we can select here. In that, we are interested in the full control on the repository hooks, right? So this one we'll select it. Public also we can select. Yeah, even the hook admin or organization is not required. We can leave it as it is. So if there is any deletion in the repositories, you can select the delete repo, read and write team discussions. A lot of options are here. But from this, we are only interested in the hook, right? Whenever a change happens on the repository, so those hooks we are consuming via this token. Okay, so read write repository hooks is what we are interested. These two we will select it. Okay, and let's say generate token. So you can go back and change again. Once the token is generated, you can also go back and edit the scope later on. So if you want to know more about the scopes, you can click on this and you can just read through what are the different options that are there. Okay, so what are the available scopes, requested scope, and granted scopes, right? So these are all the details it provides here. Okay, so going back, let's go and generate the token. Okay, so we'll make a note of this because this will be not be available later on. So let's have a note of this one. Okay, I've taken a note of this and going back now. All right, so this is the first step that is completed. So we just taken a note of this for the further reference. So first is the personal access token. Now going back to our Jenkins. Let's go back to our Jenkins. So the GitHub server is there. Let's go back to our Jenkins server. Here Jenkins. We'll go to manage Jenkins. So global tool configuration. Okay, I think it should be configure system. Let's go to this configure system here. Okay, under this we have got GitHub server. So we can add a GitHub server here. Click on the GitHub server. A name you can give anything like say GitHub, doesn't matter. API you can just leave it as it is. API URL will be the same. Credentials. So here we need to add the credentials. So click on add, go with the Jenkins. So instead of username and password, I will go with the secret text. So secret text is the one we have just copied. So using this, we'll be able to connect to the GitHub. The secret text, we will just place it here. Okay, ID you can leave it as blank, and here we can say Jenkins token. Access token. That's it. ID you can leave it as blank. Just select secret text and we'll say add. It is added. We'll go and select that now. Okay. So once you do this, let's click on the test connection. It is verified now. Credentials have been verified. Okay, so that's it. You can just click on the manage hooks button here and save this one. All right, so that is a second step that is completed. Now the third and the important point is we are going to create a hook called as web hooks. So this is the hook that triggers the requests to the Jenkins server. Okay, so let's go and create the web hook. Okay, so let's go back to our Jenkins server. Again, the hooks are again created in the GitHub. So let's go back to our repository. We'll select the repository here and then go to the settings option under the repository. Here we have got the webhooks. Let's click on the webhooks. And you can see there are a lot of this. Let me delete some of this unnecessary confusion. All right. So let's click on the add webhook here. There are a lot of things there. Click on the add webhook. Here we need to configure the payload URL. Okay. So for that, let's look at the documentation, how we can configure this webhook. Okay, let's click on this developer documentation. Creating webhooks. Let's see what are the options we have. Okay, so so it has given all the documentation how to go with creating a webhook, payload URL how it should look like, and exploring how to configure the server. Let's click on this one. So we need to configure a server like this. The example they're given is ng-rock, so which will act as a tunnel, and it will securely send the request to our Jenkins server, right? So it acts like a tunneling in the sense it will from GitHub to the Jenkins. You are securing the connection using one of these tool called ng-rock, and the requests are all tunneled and it is sent to the Jenkins server. Okay, so for that we have to install ng-rock. Okay, first let's install ng-rock. Let me refresh this again. Okay, let me then connect to this one now. So let's go and install ngrock. So for that, let's go with this path. I think you can go with, let's see what version of our Linux is for now. Let's go and see. You go with the uname -a. So it will give the details like what is the type of Linux distribution that is installed here. So this should give the details here. So we will go back now and let's install um, this ARM 64-bit. This one we'll select. Copy the link address. Okay, it has been installed. And now let's unzip this file with this unzip command. I think unzip is available. No, let's download unzip one once again. Okay, it's done. So this is the file we're trying to unzip. We'll go with the path unzip ngrock. Okay. This is the zip format. This one is zip. This one is star Z. Okay, let's take the zip version. This one. Okay, we got this. So after unzipping, we have got this ng rock. Let's try to run this and see what are the options that we have got. Think we need to download the AMD 64 zip, I think. Okay, I think we have downloaded the wrong version. Let's remove this file again. This one, I think they are getting it from this Linux version. So if I click on this one, yeah, that is the one. Yeah. So let's try to install this one. Okay. So what it does, this is going to tunnel the request to the local ports to public URLs, right? Let's say I have the request to be tunneled to the port 80, then I can configure it using this way, okay? Or port 8080, I can go with this option. Yeah. So basically, it is trying to expose a local network services behind the firewalls to the public internet or secure tunnel. Okay. So let's, in our case, Jenkins is running on 8080. So we will tunnel 8080. So for that, we have to run ngrok http and then 8080. So let's run that command. So this command http will start a http tunnel. All right. So let's start the tunnel. http 8080. Okay, it has started. Now we'll be interested in this URL. So this ngrok will be now uh, transferring all the request, the post request that is coming from the GitHub to the Jenkins server, to the local host 8080. So all requests are now tunneled via this one. All right. So let's go with the second. I think we are done with the second step. Almost like third step, like creating the webhook. We installed this one, and now finally we need to take the payload URL and use it in our GitHub server. So the payload URL will be this one, the HTTPS version. So we'll select this one. Let's go back to the server again, creating this. This is the payload URL. It will be GitHub hyphen webhook. So GitHub hyphen webhook. Content type, we can take it as JSON format. Secret for now is not required. So in case in real time we'll be using like SSL verification certificates, but now we don't have those certificates to use it. Um, so if it is there, you can just enable the SSL verification, right? And this you don't have to worry, like there will be an administrative team which will be taking care of all the certificates. So just if it is available, you just have to select the SSL verification. Otherwise, you can go with the disable option for now. All right. And again, which events you want to trigger with this webhook? So just the push event, or you can select the list of events you want to trigger. So it can be commit comments, deployments, or any projects being created, pull requests, review comments. So a lot of things are there. Right now, only the push event is selected, right, by default. So whenever a push happens to the repository, just consume that event and send that post request to the Jenkins server. So we'll select the push event and say add the webhook. The push event cannot have more than 20 hooks. Okay, I think there are already hooks that are available. Let's go and delete them. I think that's the problem. Okay, now let's try adding now. What will happen? Let's see. Okay, it's now added. I can just now, I think this is the one that is added. Just click on this and just we'll test once. I think we have got a positive response there. Yeah, response is 200. Okay. Okay. We got a response back as 200 from the Jenkins server. All right. So this is the post request that will happen. So this is the payload. It looks like if there is any change that happened in the GitHub repository. Okay. So this is the payload it will send to the Jenkins server. Okay. So now let's do one thing. Let's go here. So this is a freestyle project, right? We'll refresh this one. All right. So let's go to Jenkins. So this is configured now. Webhook is all configured. Response is 200. And we will do one thing. We'll just go and make some change in our repository. Okay. So this is a repository. We will make a change. Let's go to our index.html file, index.jsp file, whatever it is. So we'll edit this one. Okay, let's say you deleted the header 3. All right. And let's commit these changes. Okay, so as soon as you commit the changes, you should be able to see a build being triggered here. Right now, it's March 4th and 5th is the last build, right? So you should be able to see one build getting triggered here. Okay, so you can see some hooks getting 200. Okay, so in some time you should be able to see the build getting triggered here. So let me, okay, it's not getting triggered because we have not configured in the Jenkins the build triggers. So the build triggers, in this trigger I have to consume this option here, like GitHub hook trigger for git SCM polling, right? Once let me save this one. Okay, so this will enable for the build to be triggered. So now again I need to go back and let's make the change again. Let's commit the changes. Okay, should now see a build getting triggered. You can see that the build has triggered in Jenkins. Okay, so that's how it is. So whenever you make a change, any push event that happens in the repository here, it will automatically trigger a build in Jenkins. So in real time, it is almost similar. Like we are using Bitbucket. So in Bitbucket also you have options to configure the webhooks from your repository. The concept will remain the same. You have to configure the webhooks. There is no other option. So this is how we can configure in GitHub. But if you want to know how that can be configured in Bitbucket, you can just have a search for Bitbucket webhooks Jenkins. So it'll give you the details like how you can integrate a webhook. You can just go through those documentation and get the webhooks configured. Should be all similar. Again, you need to go and go with the settings option and then configure the webhooks. Let's have a look at it quickly. This is see, they're also telling the similar steps you can follow if you're using GitHub rather than Bitbucket. So it all changes, but it'll be all similar. Let's go to the part one. See, this is how they're configuring Bitbucket server hook. See, only the Bitbucket hook. So this is the URL they're adding. So they'll go to the Bitbucket repository, settings, webhooks, add a webhook, and this is the name they are providing there. Okay. So this is how, you can see they're going to the webhooks settings, edit, they're giving a name and they're adding the URL, right? Repository triggers they're selecting as repository push, right? So all things will remain same. So you don't have to worry whether it is, say if it is a GitHub hook, they are using this one. Right now what we saw, right? But this integration services is right now deprecated. You don't have this. So you have to select the webhooks option in GitHub, right? So just for reference, I can put it in the chat window so you can refer to this in case you are working with Bitbucket or something. You'll get, um, you put it to the chat window. Okay. Uh, you're able to get that, right? I think. Did you get that link I posted just now? I think it's going only to, let me see. Yeah, I'm just trying to see like it's only going to Bhumesh, so I'm just trying to see why. Can you ping me Vikas as well so that I can ping you in? Okay, let me see if I can reply back. Okay, now we should be able to get it.
Got it.
All right. Okay, so this is how you can configure the webhook. So this is important part of the CI, continuous integration, right? So in tomorrow's, so the coming sessions, we will have a look at in the continuous integration. There are like what we can call as a continuous integration is CI, that is continuous integration. So in that, what it includes is the build and any unit testing that we're performing, or you can run some code analysis. Code analysis. So for that, okay, let's go with the unit testing first. So in the unit testing, you can have JUnit for Java-based application. Um, you don't need to worry here, like this is all taken care by the developer. So they will provide you the command that they're using to run the unit test cases. That command we are going to use it in our Jenkins. Code analysis, again, we are having like popular ones are like Sonar Cube, or we have Kobichura is there. Like these are the tools that we can use for code analysis. Now, if you are integrating all these three stuff, right, in your Jenkins, so that is what you call as a continuous integration, right? So continuously you're building, you're unit testing, and you're doing the code analysis, right? And that too automatically. You're not going and clicking on the build now option. So this will happen automatically. So whenever the code is being pushed into your Bitbucket or GitHub, these three should happen automatically, right? like the example we have seen here. Only we have looked at the build option, but you can also include these two steps to make it complete for the CI, continuous integration. Okay, so what I'll do is I will have a look at one of the examples which has these steps, and we'll cover that in the tomorrow's session, probably tomorrow or on the Monday session. I'll try to cover this part, right? So that you'll get to understand like how in real time it looks like, right? In the similar way, I'll try to get an example. Okay. As far as the document is concerned, I will just yeah, I'll just forward this document. I'm trying to put this in the S3 bucket and provide the access. So probably yeah, I'll you can have it by Monday. I'll try to put all this the documents into um, S3 bucket so that you can access it from there. But for now, I'll forward it to Bhumesh. He will send it across to you guys, right?
Okay.
All right. Yeah. And do let me know if you have any questions so that I can go back and know, get more details on that one. So if you have anything bothering or some of the concepts are not clear, then I'll try to get more details on that one, because there are a lot of tools that we are going through. So the entire integration of these tools is what makes it's a wide range of tools that we'll be using. So fixing or integrating all of these together and showing as a complete project, it takes a lot of time to get it set it done. So let's see how much I can help you out in these areas. Like as and when you start learning the tools, we'll be integrating with Jenkins finally, right? So I'll try to get one example which will have all those tools, and we can have an end-to-end look into the pipeline in the Jenkins. Okay. So let me do that one. So apart from that, anything else like?
Not now, not right now. I don't have any.
Oh, all right. Okay. Oh, fine then. What about Karthik, Sunny, and difficulties and anything in this one? Any questions?
No, for right now, I don't have any question, but I have to work on it for today's session.
Okay, yeah, definitely. Do let me know if you find anything. Okay, then definitely we'll take that up.
Sure, sure.
All right. What about tomorrow? Tomorrow is okay. We can connect, right? For you guys, it's Friday evening.
And for me, it's okay. I don't know.
What about Vikas? You'll be available tomorrow?
Yeah, I will be. 8:30, the same time.
Yeah, same time. It'll be same time. Yeah. You want it a little bit earlier, then we can plan it half an
No,
hour earlier.
early now.
Yeah. Okay.
You can delay,
Uh,
no problem, but
uh,
early possible for me.
all right. So what? How about half an hour? Yeah. It it might be same time or it might get half an hour delayed. Should be fine, right? For Vikas and both Karthik.
Yes, yes, for me. For me, if it is half an hour delayed, I'm 100% okay.
Okay. Karthik, how about you?
I'm
Same.
okay with any time, Viresh.
Anytime. All right. Okay. So mostly it will be the same time, but if it gets delayed, it will be like a 10-15 minutes a delay. Right. So like we will see that. Okay. Thank you. Thanks for joining. We'll talk tomorrow then. Right.
Thank you.
Thank you.